That's okay.
There was a kid at the election.
Yeah,
He was
we had
high
There's
school.
nice colors.
Oh, wow. And I said to
You
him,
know what? We were talking.
do you know
we were
what
driven by
you're
it.
doing? Just
I
real
take my daughter
strict.
to
And he
softball
went,
pitching.
yes,
there,
ma'am.
and
Oh,
I'm driven
that's
by that
adorable.
place
6:30. I would like to call our meeting to order, please. Michelle, can you please call the roll?
I'll be happy to, Mayor. Mayor Sue McNamara.
I'm here.
Okay. Brock McDonald.
Here.
Andrew Lowe.
Here.
Jeff Schweig.
Here.
Lynn Midget.
Here.
And Greg Bogosian.
Here.
And Honora Schiller is not here. But we do have a quorum, Mayor.
Excellent. Okay, if you all would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, screwed that one. Okay. Okay,
Sorry, you have someone waiting in the
Oh,
Zoom.
Oh, thank you.
okay. Is,
Oh, Valerie.
it's Valerie. Okay.
I have to watch that.
Okay, yeah. Good.
It's good.
Okay. Michelle, we have an agenda, and I believe you're going to ask for a motion to change that?
Oh, you asked for the motion.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeff, would you please make a motion to amend the agenda?
He might not have received my email. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. We had a couple of things. We want to change the agenda to remove the discussion about a purchase of an iPad, also to move the code enforcement discussion to a working session with a date TBD. And those two changes will come up later on down the road, but if you would make a motion and someone would second that change, I'd appreciate it.
I make a motion to adjust the amended agenda for tonight.
As previously stated.
As previously stated.
Right.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and then Lynn seconded.
I believe so. So motion has been made, accepted. Say ayes and nays.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. Motion's passed. Okay, minutes. Michelle, if you would like to read the minutes, or if we wish to waive reading of the minutes, I need a motion in a second.
Love to read the minutes.
5 pages. Do y'all want me to read that? Those minutes?
I'd like a motion and a second to waive the minutes, waive the reading of the minutes, please. Come on, guys, let's not all jump in here at once.
Are we waiving the reading of the minutes, or are we approving the minutes unread?
We are, thank you. I guess we would approve the meeting minutes unread.
Yes. I make that motion.
I'm sorry?
I make the motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Ayes and nays? Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion passes. We're not going to read the minutes. Okay. I would like to make a special mention of a gentleman we have seated at the back of the room, Officer Ken Quach, who has been with the Chesterfield Police now and Clarkson Valley for 16 plus years. And he unfortunately has chosen to move to greener pastures. So he will be leaving us shortly. And I would like to thank him for his services. Thank you, sir. And I think Chris can probably give you a pretty good description of his role. Most of us haven't probably seen this gentleman because he tends to be
He's a night owl.
at night. Yeah.
Ken has been our permanent midnight watch officer, along with Craig Fremel, for the last 7 to 8 years here in Clarkson Valley. So it is very, very difficult to find anyone that would accept that kind of assignment, to be on straight midnights. But he did it, and he did it just happily. I don't think you ever one time said anything about working midnights at all. So I'm glad that worked out for you and it worked out well for us too. We just thank you so much for everything you did for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Wish you the best. Wish you the best. Hope you're as safe there as you are here. Okay. At this point, I would welcome any remarks, comments, petitions from anyone in the audience. Ladies, do you have anything particular you'd like to say?
We actually do. Mary Swearingen with Clarkson Farm subdivision would like to speak on 2 issues.
Okay?
Mary Swearish, and I live at 12 Clarkson Farm, right across. The airplane noise, I know we discussed that a couple meetings ago. And last Friday, I thought we were in trouble, I thought the bombs were coming. The noise shook my windows. It was so loud. It was in the morning. Consecutive. Yeah, and it was consecutive. And we still hear it quite a bit even during the day. But it was so annoying. I went outside to see what was going over. I couldn't see anything. That didn't mean anything, you know, but the noise is there. So I'm not, it just was a fright. I don't know if they can alert us if when they're gonna be doing the big noise or what, but it's scary when you hear it coming at you.
What time was it?
9 o'clock in
9
the
o'clock
morning.
in the morning.
And 9:30,
Yeah,
and then there was one at 9:45.
yeah. And it literally was like something was coming up from the ground and it was noisy, so.
Without knowing for sure, I would imagine it's military, and as my husband used to say, you hear that kind of noise, by the time you hear the noise, you're dead. They are so much out in front of the noise that you hear, they're already gone, so it's hard to see them.
We couldn't see anything in the sky. Usually we can see something in the sky.
I couldn't see it.
Well, sometimes if it's clear, you can catch them if you know how far out ahead to look, the noise you hear coming here, you need to look out there. If it's clear, you can see them sometimes, but if it's not clear and there's a low ceiling, you're not going to see anything.
It wasn't, it was clear.
Okay, well then you need to look the farther out from where the sound is coming. It is an FOB. We do have military aircraft that come in and out of there on a fairly frequent basis. I don't know if there's any way they can alert us to that because, to be honest, they don't know when it's coming. They stop cross-country or to refuel as needed, and that's if you have a concern. I have talked to the assistant director and both the director, and to your point, Dylan, they have had no large aircraft, commercial or military, in since January of this year. They have to have a special permit in order to have those airplanes on the runway because they're long enough and sturdy enough in their build to support the weight, but they have to have a special permit. They have not issued such a permit in almost a year, and at least this year, since January, and it's already November. As far as a complaint is concerned, I was told, and I would suggest that you can call the airport and make your concerns known, but I don't know that what, if anything, they can do about it, and I certainly don't know what, if anything, we can do about it. But I did communicate your concerns to the airport, and that was the response of that I got.
What day was it?
Yeah, we think, we're trying to remember, I think it was Friday morning.
Friday.
Last Friday
Or it
morning.
could have been Saturday morning. But Mary called me and said, oh my God, I mean, and this is,
We're in trouble, run.
we thought for sure the war had landed
Kansas
in
was attacking, yep.
It was
Military.
that
It shook the windows.
bad. It wasn't just like the jets taking off. It
No,
wasn't
they circle.
No, that wasn't doing that. It was a low sound coming up. It almost sounded like an explosion. And it happened consecutively with about 20 to 30 minutes in between.
Well,
Yeah, when-
with all due respect, I'm sorry that you're so discomforted, but I don't know if there's anything that any of us honestly can do. But I would encourage you to contact the airport, and the gentleman you need to speak with there is the director. His name is John Bales. And Bales, B-A-L-E-S. And I'm sure he would listen to your concerns. Okay? But thanks for sharing. So.
And the second thing is, many years ago, they did a traffic study for Clarkson. We're on Clarkson Farm. If you want to get somewhere, you want to allow to have at least 20 minutes to get out of Clarkson Farm. I'm just wondering, do they periodically do traffic studies to see the flow and how it's going?
Chris might be able to better address that than I. It's a St. Louis County road. It's it's a state highway. I'm sorry. So
Right.
as what the state does for that, or any of the local jurisdictions, and in your case, I think that would be Net Baldwin, I believe, or you Ellisville, or that area of, you're in Clarkson Valley, I know, but is that stretch of Clarkson just
No,
south of
we're
there?
Clarkson Valley.
No, I understand you're in Clarkson Valley, but is that stretch of Clarkson Road just south of you, that's Ellisville, isn't it? Or is that
Yes.
Baldwin?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It kind of cuts in and cuts out.
yeah. Do you know how,
Well,
if they do?
MoDOT will have a schedule to do those kind of things on occasion, but when they receive complaints, that they tend to modify that kind of thing from time to time to change their schedule. But, there's not a whole lot to do out there. I mean, the volume of traffic at different times of the day is just overwhelming. And, that's one of our highest accident locations, is right out there. Because people, for whatever reason, a lot of times it's inattention. And when somebody all of a sudden has to slam their brakes on, wow.
Yeah.
But, I just don't know how much more they
Is
can
that
do.
something that we would
with
check with
design
the
and
state
Clarkson
on?
and what they've done so
MoDOT.
far. But
I could call
Are
them
they
that
sinking the
and
lights?
say that
That's
we
what
had
I've
this
heard, Mill.
complaint.
And on
I mean,
Clayton.
if it's truly
That's part
20
of those
minutes,
traffic
it's
studies,
horrible.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's-
they have it set from Clayton all the way up to Highway 40. So that at different times of the day, the traffic flow as best they can to keep things moving. But
But
You
to
know,
your
so
point,
much.
I've asked Michelle if she would contact MoDOT and see what their schedule is and see if they could,
But the other thing too,
Adjust it.
you have lifetime people coming in
Right.
and out of there
Right.
continuously. So
Yeah.
I just wondered if they did any.
we'll find out. Okay,
That's it.
thanks.
The other thing about traffic that I'm noticing, because everybody has to go 50 miles over the speed limit, it seems, is that as I was coming home yesterday, and this is the most recent one, is that people are actually, you're going 45 miles an hour and coming up the hill by West Hampton, there was a pickup truck that actually passed in the center lane, and there were cars abreast of each other all the way down. But now they're going to the center lane and passing. They're not turning. They're using that as a passing lane, and that is so dangerous.
it certainly is, absolutely. We look for that from time to time. As a matter of fact, we've got one of our officers, Officer Aldrich, writes quite a few tickets right out here when people drive on the far right-hand shoulder coming down, because, as well as I do, people pulling out of here, bam, there we go,
Yeah.
they fail to yield, and here we go. We had a pretty good accident. But, so we write quite a few of those failure to yield or driving on the shoulder tickets. But, I'll be quite honest with you, trying to catch somebody when they do something like that, and the heavy traffic like that is almost more dangerous than the actual.
Well, and they're hauling it too.
Mhm.
Right.
And they're doing one of these, they're just snaking.
If we see
in.
it, we're gonna stop them.
And they're
But
not getting any farther.
That's it, because they have to stop all right in front of them. You can wave at them as you go by,
Exactly.
Well, I'll have
could do
Michelle
this.
check and see what their schedule is, so, okay.
Or the other.
But thanks for bringing it to our attention. Chris, would you like to give your police report, please?
First of all, you may have kind of picked up on this,
I won't do
it's
that.
been in the news a little bit in the last week, the chief of police is retiring. Earl Ray Johnson is retiring in January, and they went into a selection process for the position of chief, and they have selected Captain Cheryl Funkhauser as the new chief of police for the city of Chesterfield. She'll assume that role in January, and she is my immediate boss, and I think she's gonna make a fine chief.
Yeah, I've met her a couple of times. She seems like a very bright woman,
She's
so,
a good person, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
awesome.
This month, we had, I'll tell you right up front, we had some computer problems. It was one of those deals where they told us that switching over to a new system was going to be very user-friendly and just increase the productivity 100-fold and all this kind of stuff. Well, guess what?
They lied.
That's not quite what happened when we switched over, and the fact that the tickets, the mobile ticketing issuance. So we have gone back and forth from, I don't know, system to system, what, about 3 or 4 times this month, back and forth, trying to get it straight. we've got the Regional Justice Information Center, Regis for short. They're working on this. They're kind of the parent group that's working on this thing. And hopefully we'll get it squared away. They tell us within a week they're gonna have it squared away. So, it has to do with our issuing of tickets and warnings, and so I had to go in and manually find all this information this month, so, but it did, have some effect on the number of tickets and warnings that we could actually issue, as opposed to verbal ones, so. We had 103 self-initiated radio assignments, this month. We had 10 actual incidents that required some type of reporting. We had 15 alarms, 1 open door at Forest Hills. We seem to get quite a few of those up there. We had 16 open garage door notifications that were left, mostly by Officer Potch back here. He's my open garage door guy. We had 3 non-injury accidents that happened. One was on the Marquette parking lot. It was 2 cars that found each other as they were driving down the lanes. We had one here on Mercy parking lot out here where unfortunately a parked police car was struck. Luckily it wasn't one of ours. And then we had a car that had a deer run out in front of them up on Curtisville, and they ran off the road and found a mailbox that had a wreck around it, so. But nobody was injured there. We had 11 moving violations and 13 warnings for a total of 24 tickets and warnings that were issued. And those are the ones that we know of. I mean, there's certainly more than that, but I can't be absolutely clear on that this month. Once again, we had an open door at Forest Hills Country Club. We had stealing 2 walls that were taken from the business offices at Forest Hills Country Club, and later the credit cards that were in those wallets were used. We got very good video of the suspects, and the detective bureau is investigating on that, trying to get them identified. We had mental health warrant that we served on several occasions throughout this month on Thursday. We've got a gentleman that is in great need of evaluation and treatment, and what's happening is he's being transported, families getting on mental health warrant, he's being transported, evaluated, released, and it's kind of a vicious circle right now. So we're working on that with the Department of Mental Health, trying to figure out what exactly we're going to do there. We had the schools are for some reason getting really busy here all of a sudden. Marquette High School had an assault with 2 students, got into a shoving match. The school resource officer conducted an investigation and then forwarded that information to the Department of Juvenile Detective, and then the school administration is pursuing the appropriate discipline there. Had another one where 2 students became involved in a fight in a restroom, and the school resource officer and several principals went in, and this particular student didn't want to acquiesce. He fought them all the way. And the school resource officer used incredible restraint. I watched all the video on this thing, but unfortunately the student grabbed the school resource officer and pulled him down, and he was injured, and he missed several days of duty, and he had a shoulder injury. But he used great restraint. I'm watching this, I'm thinking, man, why didn't you handcuff that kid, but it's a unique environment in the schools these days. But this person that he was fighting was much bigger than him, and he just did everything he could to try to get that kid down to the office and under control. Had a disturbance also at Marquette following a sporting activity where some parents got into a little bit of a supposed pushing and shoving match, and that's still under investigation as well. Over at Crestview, had a student that was showing inappropriate photos of the student to her friends. The actual person that she was showing the photo of does not go to that school, it goes to another school, but that's being referred to juvenile court as well. I had a student that voiced a terroristic threat, just said something about shooting up the school, and this was a kind of a repeat problem person over there, but they brought him in and interviewed him and found that he was pretty idly the threat that he made. It wasn't anything of any great concern after we investigated. The student entered a girl's restroom over at Crestview and eventually pushed a female into a stall. There was no further contact made with her, and the school administration is following up on that as well. Student reports that she was kicked in the back of the knee. It caused her to fall. This is another incident. It hit her head and sustained a concussion, and the detective bureau is following up on that as well. So, there you go.
Within the incident where the school resource officer was attacked, what's the consequence for that student?
It's gonna be out of school suspension, certainly, but exactly what's gonna happen, I don't know. We have not criminal charged him at this point. So, I think everybody has their own opinions on that, and, I mean, mine is we should arrest them, you know, but that's not quite the way the school feels about it, so.
You have, this is probably one of the longest reports I think I've heard you
Yeah,
give.
There was a lot there.
A lot going on.
A student unrest.
Yeah, yeah, so
Well,
we'll,
I'm most happy when you have the real sharp ones.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Time to time.
well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so my turn, and I have a whole list of things. Tomorrow, Michelle and I, and hopefully Honora in the future, will be meeting with Marge Perry to review our E-code first round of edits, our second round of edits, I guess. This is what we submitted to E-code for them to go over and write up, and they are now at a stage where we can finally edit, and hopefully this will not result in many changes. And once that's complete, after the first of the year, hopefully we'll be online with E-code, and we can easily search all our codes and complete that quickly. One thing Michelle and I have done, I've been to several other township meetings, and one thing I noticed that they all do is they all have more than one meeting a month. And this accelerates the monthly meeting. If they only have one monthly meeting, they have a working session, and it's during those sessions that a lot of the discussion and back and forth and opinions get taken and or resolved, and it makes the meetings go much faster. Was it where were we the last one? Was it Fenton? And it was just like, I mean, they read those motions, and motion, second, ayes, nays, call the roll, whatever. It was done in seconds. It was quick,
Right.
which was really nice. So I'd like to consider that we discuss holding a monthly working session. Doesn't have to be long, just gets things over quickly. I've got a coffee with the mayor I will be scheduling for January. And that would be open to the citizens. That'll probably be something that we do at Forest Hills. Our court revenue is down a little bit right now. We usually hit it sometime between $2,000 and $4,000. Right now, it's a little over $1,000. It's generally felt that this is a result of CPI or Consumer Price Index being lower than normal, and maybe has something to do with some of the police equipment issues and tickets, etc. So, trustee meetings we had with 10 of the neighborhoods who attended. We had 25 attendees. We were missing Kersmill Glen, West Hampton, and Forest Hills. But it was a productive meeting. We had a lot of things to discuss. We talked about snow removal. We talked about street maintenance. We talked about ARPA, a whole bunch of stuff. So I think it was good. It was productive. We met Jeff, and Lynn tried to make it, but he couldn't get there. Jeff and I and Michelle all met with our prosecuting attorney, Tim Engelmeyer, and his staff, his prosecuting assistant, and his, what was?
The
Tom's-
court administrator.
Court administrator, thank you. Couldn't remember her title. They were there and explained the process of filing some of the procedures for violations for of like landscape, et cetera, and how we prosecute those, and it was a good discussion. As I said, Michelle and I went to a couple of meetings. She and I both went to Fenton. I went to Twin Oaks, and it was really learned a lot. And Brad, who I had thought was going to be here tonight, is not, is our new code inspector, building inspector. He's already started reviewing some plans and building inspections. He's done some nuisance follow-ups beginning last week. So we're making some progress there. I have some thoughts, and we want to discuss both procedures and how to execute some of this. So that's going to be coming down the road here. I went to Forest Hills Ridge across the street from Marquette one afternoon to watch the traffic, actually a couple times. One day, there was no police presence there, and there were a number of cars that pulled off into that turnoff. And the kids running across the road there were just, they were like flies. And it really alarms me because of the comments you all made about the way people drive and the risk those kids take and the risk at which the people driving those pickup cars place those kids, because if they weren't there to pick them up, they wouldn't be dashing across Kersmill Road. And when that rear lot is emptying, those kids are smoking up that lane. It's dangerous. And I discussed with Tom Beck the fact that one of his neighbors may, in fact, allow someone to pull into their driveway, which, if they have permission from a resident to do that, there's not much you can do to stop it. Pardon me?
Saturday, we had 3 cars pulled in the driveways. Matter of fact, we pulled them all the way up to the houses and just sitting there.
Do you know? And I asked Tom to check with those residents in those houses to see if they had in fact granted permission. And I know that goes on with Jenny Cliff because the residents in Forest Hills there allow that. So, and if they have permission, there's not.
Officer Powers reported that they pulled all the way up to the house and sat there, and then kids would come out of their house and kind of wave at them, so that obviously they know who they are. So it's not like they're looking at them like, who are you in my driveway?
Yeah. Well, I told Tom to check, and if there was anything he could do, encourage that to stop. But anyway, so one of the things that Tom also mentioned was that he wants to explore extending the left turn lane going east on Kersmill Road to go north on Clarkson. He wants to explore lengthening that lane, that it may alleviate some of the backup traffic, because it's a little confusing there. If you remember, that lane has arrows going both directions. And so, in other words, you can be in that center lane, or as they call it, the suicide lane. You can make a right turn or a left turn. And I know in the past, and I spoke with Officer Powell about this, there have been police officers who have pulled drivers over for utilizing that lane in effort to get closer to the light, not driving up from the back lot, but farther back than where and I don't know how to term it, but the access is very clear there. And some people access that lane farther back, but they have been pulled over in the past. And Officer Powers said, honestly, that's legal to do, and he's got a point, because if you think about those yellow lines are down there at the parking lot. They start at the rear lot, and if you can't cross the yellow lines, you couldn't access that lane. But I talked to Stephanie Streeter with St. Louis County Department of Transportation. She was going to look into that and get back to me about it. So I think they're going to take a look at the traffic volume. We are hosting the Lafayette Area Mayor's Organization this Friday. We meet about once a month, and this month is our turn. So we will be hosting the meeting at Forest Hills, and we always learn a lot there, exchange ideas. It's really a help. So far, we've got 12 people coming, including staff from Ellisville, Baldwin, Manchester, and Eureka, and Clarkson Valley. The dental insurance has a little bit of an increase, again, mostly CPI driven. So that's going to be something that we'll take a look, we'll vote on that, but it's sort of is what it is. It's just gone up 2.4%, which is pretty much consistent with the rate of inflation. So that's all I got, which was take a deep breath. That was a lot. So next status report from you gentlemen. So I can say gentlemen because Honora's not here. So would you care to start, Greg?
Sure. There's a major, construction project with Forest Hills Country Club. There's a lake and a dam and a spillway and a stilling basin right around the 17th green that are being removed to restore the stream to its natural stream bed. This was advised by the Army Corps of Engineers rather than trying to repair all these structures which were in a state of disrepair. And it's going to be a major undertaking. Right now they're draining the pond. Then they'll start, and they've done demolition of the spillway. There's more demolition to occur.
I know they send out a weekly, thereabout notice to what they're doing with the golf course, so, and that's always been part of it. So there's an update to the members, to the membership. So, okay.
I just think it's interesting that the Army Corps of Engineers says, man-made dams, we don't want to repair them, we don't want to get rid of them and restore the stream.
Yeah. Okay, Lynn, do you have anything?
Just a couple things. We're still working on the cyber insurance. Andrew has 5 or 6 technical questions we need to run down. So we're still working on it.
Okay.
Hope to have something by next month, maybe. We'll see. And then this isn't really an ARPA update, but Greg and I were talking about the renewing some of the CDs, and we reviewed the outstanding projects, and I guess the only one that would cause a significant drain of our funds would have been Forest Hills. And I talked to Valerie, and she said that the biggest project is our creek project, and they're having to go through the Corps of Engineers and get permits and so on. And they don't see work on that starting before February. And then the South Entrance Road work, where they're gonna replace some concrete, that won't start until March or April. So we were able
Warmer
to figure
weather.
out that we can go ahead and turn over some CDs and make a little more money.
Cool, awesome. Money's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, or Brock, I'm sorry. I'm looking down the road.
Nothing for me this week or this month.
Okay, Andrew?
All right, I've got 2 things. The first is in regards to recurring sewer odor in Curtis Mill Estates.
Yeah.
Jeff and myself have been in contact with MSD. Moving about at the speed at which we anticipated, which is a crawl.
Sludge?
Yeah, and so it might be time to have the mayor make a call. We will follow up again. We've done so a couple times after kind of laying out, hey, you know, this is not a coincidence. We've got 5 residents along the exact same drainage line that
With
are,
the same issues,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that are all
Yeah, let me
smelling.
know,
So,
I'll be happy to.
kind of giving them a chance to wrap their heads around it and maybe come up with an answer, but it's happening awfully slow. The other,
Oh, I'm sorry,
please.
I think Mark Harder might be a good person to involve in that as well. He's been very helpful in the past, so I'd be happy to reach out to him.
That would be great. I know our POC that Jeff had for Curtis Mill Estates passed our package, if you will, along to someone else. I don't know if it was Mark
What's
or not.
POC? Point of contact, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second thing for me is I have finalized my short list for the tech committee to reach out about enlisting them and getting someone under contract to do our, what's basically called nowadays managed service, IT. So we'll have some one-on-one meetings. I'll firm up kind of our requirements, a statement of work, if you will. And then hopefully we can have a few companies who are willing to submit some bids for that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that because you guys have done an awesome job,
Yeah,
and I
thank
know
you.
it's been a lot of work for both you and Brock. It's been a lot of time, so
Thanks. And,
we're all very grateful for that.
Lynn is waiting on me to answer some of those cyber questions. So he was
Cool.
polite about it, but he's waiting for me.
And I know I want to mention David Grable too has been very helpful in times when I've talked to him about various things. He's as a resource, he's great. So he's been very, very willing
Yes,
to
he
do.
is.
and do
When
that.
we need something extremely technical, he's like the big guns.
Yeah.
I mean, so I try and call him when we really need it, because I know his time's limited and he's a
Yeah.
volunteer. But yeah, he's so far has been nothing he can help with.
Cool. Jeff?
I have nothing to add at this time.
Okay, well, you guys let me know if you need me to get involved with the sewer issue, and I will
Thank you.
do what I can. So, Mr. Butler.
I don't have anything, even though I've done plenty of plumbing work over the years. Just in case.
Well, just in case, so you guys heard the offer, you can take him up on it, so. Okay, unfinished business. We have a building commissioner who has obviously just started. When I spoke with him last, I was under the impression he was gonna be here this evening and we could introduce him, but obviously he's not in attendance. But we have some ongoing discussions about how we're going to execute this, and he's got a lot of good ideas, and I've taken the opportunity to discuss some of this with some of the other townships around, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from them as well. So that's something that I would really like to include in a working session is how to do this, how to go about this. And I know, Andrew, I think you saw, and I think most of you have seen the flow chart that we got from, I think it's Wildwood, that looked very attractive and very methodical, and maybe something we could adapt. So we'll take a look at that. The new business, code enforcement policy, and that is what I would like to schedule a working session to discuss, so we can figure out what the best process for us to do this would be. And that would be including first letter, second letter, what do you do with the third letter? And we included Tom Engelmeyer in that discussion when we met with him, and got some good information there as well, so we can discuss that when we schedule this working session. So then we have to discuss and or pass bill number 0536 for court services agreement. And it's going to be affected by CPI as everything else is. So I would like to have, Michelle, do you want to?
A motion to discuss.
Okay, motion to discuss, and a second, please.
I'll make a motion, we discuss bill number 0536.
Second?
I second that.
Ayes?
I'll read it twice.
Okay, you read it twice,
Okay.
and then we have the roll call. Got it.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and the city administrator of the city of Clarkson Valley to execute a municipal court services agreement between the city of Clarkson Valley, St. Louis County, Missouri, and the city of Chesterfield, St. Louis County, Missouri. Discussion.
Any discussion?
So the motion was to discuss.
Motion to discuss, so does
Is there any
anybody,
discussion?
is there any?
This was just a
Nope.
CPI increase from
Right.
last year.
Yeah. It pretty much, it is what it is,
Yeah.
so.
What's the percentage increase? Like, what was it monthly?
was about-
and
It
now-
Did you say
started
2
out at
point?
3,750, sorry, Mayor.
No.
And then it went to this,
4172.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
well, actually, it's 4,000, it's just about $100 difference from, so this is our third year, I believe, with the court. That's
Oh, I thought you said
Yeah.
3,700.
We were over 4,000.
It started at 3750, and then it went to 40,000, and now this is our third year, and it's at 4172. And the current price we're paying now, and we'll pay through December, is $4,074.50.
Oh, okay. $100.
Right.
$102. All right, got it.
Per month, per month.
Right.
Yeah.
2.5%.
2.5.
Is that it for the discussion? Okay, so
Second
Michelle, you wanna
reading?
read the second time, please?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city administrator, of the city of Clarkson Valley to execute a municipal court services agreement between the city of Clarkson Valley, St. Louis County, Missouri, and the city of Chesterfield, St. Louis County, Missouri.
call the roll?
Don't we
I'm
need a
sorry,
motion
we
to
made a
approve?
motion to
I'm sorry.
discuss. We haven't made a motion to approve.
Okay, sorry.
I motion to approve bill number 0536.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Andrew and Jeff.
Now can we call the roll?
Yes. All right. And that would be Lynn Midget,
Yes.
Jeff Schweig,
Yes.
Andrew Lowe,
Yes.
Greg Bogosian,
Yes.
and Brock McDonald.
Yes.
Okay, I think this bill passes. It becomes an ordinance.
Yes.
Same number.
This will be, yes.
Okay.
All right, and then dental insurance?
Well, okay, we can go to dental insurance, and then I'll just move that down here. Dental insurance is pretty much the same issue. It is a CPI increase. This is Michelle's dental insurance. What's the total amount that it increases for the year?
It is $55.40 per month.
Hey, braces are expensive. Anyway.
I really would like to thank you all, though, for having this in the past, because I did just, last month, I got a few crowns.
Oh,
And insurance is nice.
yeah, that'll hit
Yeah.
your pocketbook.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second to approve, to discuss. Do we want to discuss first?
Discuss and pass.
Okay, that works for me. Discuss and pass. Anybody have any discussion?
A motion? To
A
discuss
motion
and
to
pass?
discuss and pass?
You need a motion, yes.
A motion to discuss and pass? No?
Sure, I'll make a motion to discuss and pass the dental contract for 2024.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Well, not this discussion.
Well, we did, didn't we?
We
Sorry.
didn't discuss.
No, we didn't. I don't think it was, anyone.
Is there any
It's a
discussion?
$1.30 increase per month. I don't see a problem with that.
Right, I'm just following procedure.
You are.
Thanks for the breadcrumbs. Okay, now, can we
All
take an
right.
ayes and nays? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed?
Thank you.
Passes. Okay. Two other things that I would like to discuss, one of which is something that I've encountered, Michelle as well, in a number of the other townships we've been in. They all have some method of security, for which we have nothing. And been thinking about this for a while. Before the fact that we went to these meetings, it concerns me greatly, especially given the condition of today's society, that Michelle sits in this office by herself, often alone, and she often works at night after the building is pretty much empty. But she has no method by which to protect herself. I'm not suggesting that we go out and buy arms, but I would like to consider an electronic lock for the door that she may toggle at her desk to allow access to someone coming in or not. We've found, I think it was Fenton, has a very nice meeting room. They've actually gone so far as to put bulletproof their podium. So in case, you get some nutcase that does what unfortunately, tragically has happened in other places, they come in with a gun, and I can point to Kirkwood a few years ago. It does afford them some degree of protection. I would like to look at getting electronic locks for the doors and bulletproof glass for the windows. And I would also like to have a reinforced gate between the vestibule as you enter the office and the back side of the desk there, so that someone can't, as they currently can, just walk right back to Michelle and Andrea's desks. So that would also be an electronically locked gate. And the last thing I would like to consider is a panic button. Every township we've been to, all the aldermen and the mayor have a button that should it warrant the need to do so, they can hit a panic button and call the police immediately. So I'd like to ask for some volunteers to take a look at this. Michelle and I have already considered asking the building if we could tag into their system, because they have an electronic lock on the building doors as you come in and out on the main floor. And in order to get in after hours, you have to have a key. The cities where we've gone to the township meetings, we notice that when you walk past a certain door, all of a sudden you hear this click. And we asked the mayor or the alderman who was accompanying us what they carry a key card with them, so that when they walk up to the door, it automatically unlocks the door. But without that key card, that door is inaccessible. So I would like to take a look at doing something like that to protect Michelle and Andrea. So do I have anybody who's interested in helping look at that?
I'll help. I think it somewhat falls under a tech committee. However, I think the first logical step is to see what the property manager of the building can and is willing to do, and we have to work with whatever restrictions they give
Right.
us, including physical restrictions.
Especially the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glass might be theirs.
Yeah.
You know, they might have to consent to modifying the structure of this
Oh,
building.
yeah,
but-
and I'm sure they would, but I think.
Not that they would oppose it, just maybe one more trap
Yeah.
to run. The only thing that didn't make sense immediately to me was the gate.
Well,
I mean, unless you're trying to keep dogs from getting back there, if someone wants to come in and do something, they don't care if there's a gate, they're just gonna jump over the desk.
well,
So-
but both the desk and that gate they're good for.
If I wanna
5 feet
get to
tall.
somebody, it doesn't matter if it's
Yes.
a 10-foot desk, I'm
Yes.
just gonna get over it, so I wouldn't
But if.
mess
and-
with that so much. But the panic button, the electronic locks for the doors, and everything else sounded good, it was just, the gate just seemed like it's not gonna stop.
I agree, but I'll throw this out there. If you are a rather large, irate gentleman who is coming in to protest a permit or some letter that they received, and you may not be as agile as some other people who can hop
Rather
that gate.
specific. Okay.
I'm just saying. And
If you have someone in mind, then maybe the gate would be good.
I have seen
We might
some
need to-
very belligerent
A
individuals.
restraining order might be a little more effective than.
I've seen some
Okay.
very belligerent individuals in various situations, many of which were athletic events, who would easily fit that description. I cannot see them vaulting over a gate that would be as high as our counter. That's throwing that out there. Anyway, if you guys would, Andrew, if you can wrestle somebody else into helping out, I would really appreciate that. I like to keep our ladies safe. So, okay? Last thing is, I would like to consider rescinding an ordinance that we currently have in place. This is an ordinance that was adopted in 1995, and it concerns holiday lighting. It's very specific. It allows holiday lighting to be displayed or installed after Thanksgiving and requires it to be removed within the first week of January. I have several issues there, not the least of which, if you guys are familiar with the weather during this time and think about it, this is the time of year we have the worst weather possible. My husband is getting ready to go out, sit in a deer stand someplace, and my thought has always been, you get that outside stuff for Christmas done before deer weekend, because after deer weekend, the weather is not great. And the first week in January for people to be climbing on ladders or doing whatever, I think you're putting people at an unnecessary risk. That's one thing. The other thing is, it's just plain antiquated. We have now Halloween lighting. I mean, if you drive through the neighborhoods, we had all kinds of Halloween lights. We have inflatables, which are seasonal holiday lighting. We have summer lighting, Portofino lights under people's decks and fences and strung across their yards. I see a potential for, given today's litigious societal nature. I see a potential for religious persecution since Christmas. This specifically addresses Christmas. Somebody next door puts up blue and white lights for Hanukkah. They don't fall under the same restrictions that Christmas holiday lights do. There's a religious restriction there, and I saw a lot of blue and yellow lights when Ukraine was first invaded. So we've got political issues there. So I would like to rescind that ordinance. Any discussion?
Does the ordinance touch on anything else?
Nope. Nope. It's holiday lighting that is not allowed to be installed or put up until the week after Thanksgiving. Is it? I'm sorry,
It
Michelle.
is commencing on Thanksgiving, the fourth Thursday in November. So that's when it would start, and then ending January 8th.
Are we
So-
just looking at removing the time frame?
Well, if you remove the time frame, then you don't need the ordinance.
Well, I mean, up above, it talks about,
Oh,
you know,
right.
exterior lighting that some people can put up, and
Well, I put the
you might have
draft,
one up there.
I'm sorry, I put the draft of the ordinance in front of that, and it would keep number 15
Yeah, that
and
needs to be there.
15V, but it just would eliminate,
Gets rid of
I
B.
mean, B, it
Yeah.
would eliminate that.
Okay.
I'm not in favor of this. I'm not in favor of a straight repeal. We would be leaving the HOAs to fend for themselves, who have a hard enough time passing their own indentures or getting those amended. So to do this to them without notice and leaving them with no enforcement, 99% of people have good intentions, but for the 1% or less, that's why we have to have all this stuff written down. So I'm certainly open to amending. You and I discussed Halloween. Shoot, we can talk about Easter, we can talk about New Year's, we can talk about whatever we want, and not just Christian holidays either. You know, there's a lot we can do with this, but a straight repeal, I think, opens up a lot of potential issues across the board in Clarkson Valley. So I'd like to see, some options. Maybe we pick some holidays or make time frames where it's okay. Because our neighborhood looked great for Halloween,
Yeah, it did.
and that's not covered by this, right? Everybody who was decorating for Halloween was in violation of Clarkson Valley ordinance, but.
So how, the only problem there is how do you then pick and choose to enforce this? Because right now, we already have several houses in the neighborhood who have their Christmas lights on.
Michelle, has this ordinance ever been enforced?
Yes, I mean, we've written a few letters.
About starting early or not taking them down?
Well, they don't take them down all year.
Don't take them down January 20th, or don't take them down May 31st.
I think there are many people who leave them on year-round.
Especially now, they've got systems that are like low
Yeah.
profile
Right.
LED.
Well, and that's,
Right.
to your point, Brock, that's one of the things that I stopped in West Hampton and took a look at a house there that does this exact thing. They're LED lights that they leave up all year long.
I have a house in my neighborhood. That's the same.
They're very small, they're very unobtrusive, but they're there all year long. But it gives you an app on on your phone that allows you to adapt the color display or the method it's displayed. It flashes, it flows, whatever. But, you could utilize that for Valentine's Day, for St. Patrick's Day, for Easter, for,
Well, that's a question. So if I have lights on my house, mounted on the roof, that, I nearly killed myself installing them, and I turn them on around Christmas, I turn them on Valentine's Day, I turn them on for Halloween, am I in violation because I left the lights on my house and they're not on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, well,
Yes.
that's, I was gonna ask Michelle or
Yeah.
Patrick this, like, the wording is lights used during the holiday season. Does used mean installed physically, or is used mean
Well,
energized to
I-
use
well, I would-
electrical term?
I would,
That's a good
my
point.
interpretation, like, is, if we're not using a light, what good is it? I mean, so that would be an operation to illuminate.
Mhm.
If it's turned off, it's not being used.
Yeah.
Is this, well, it used to be a glass with a, but now everything's plastic and LED. This is not lighting up anything.
And I guess the issue could be like people who would wanna leave tons of icicle lights all over their house.
Mhm.
That would be the issue, is that maybe no one wants to see those year round.
Yeah, but the smaller ones, and to your point, the kind, the LED lights, they're up all year long, but for instance, the homeowner that I spoke with about that said he had turned them on for, I think it was Labor Day, he turned them on red, white, and blue. So, you know, it's an option that he has. It was a really neat app on the phone. It was impressive. So,
I mean,
I think the worst in the lights is all the inflatables that we've had in some areas. We do have a little bit of,
yeah, it looks like a vinyl graveyard during the day.
looks,
The Brock's
I don't-
I mean, this just says, because honestly, this is the worst time I've seen this code section, so that's, hasn't come across my desk. But this,
You didn't write this in 1995, Patrick?
I know I didn't start until 2000, it was 5 years before my time. Anyway, it's discussing the using the lights and the glare and the direction and and also
Nuisance.
use during the time period. If I was representing a homeowner, you told me to take down my lights under this code, like, they are off 11 months a year. I don't want to have to pay to put it back up. Tell me how am I in violation of this ordinance? Because they're not in use.
They're not used, yeah.
They're hung,
Yeah.
they're attached.
I mean, if you drive around and look at some of the shopping centers, they keep their lights up all year long. You know, they're up there, they're the white lights, but
I mean,
they're there, they're
I
not-
know, we're not the type of family that would just leave lights up and not use them all year. We take ours down.
we don't enforce that, I'll say that. We have two in our neighborhood that are on.
so
So I think
does-
there's a difference between what you guys are talking about, and they do make low profile, nice systems that you can do for any holiday. And someone who's gonna abuse the rule, right? So again, I think there's a lot of room to improve this. I'm not sure a straight repeal is gonna get us where we want, but maybe some clarification and improvement with a little bit of work.
okay, well, that's something, again, we can add to the list of discussion,
Yeah,
so,
I
yeah.
know, it's a long
It's-
list already, I know.
Well, it's just driving around, you look, and I don't like having ordinances on the books and not enforcing them. Because, again, it opens you to, you can't enforce, if you don't enforce some ordinances, you can't enforce others. And I don't think it's a good idea to pick and choose, and that's something that would end up, it could end up coming up someday.
Yeah, because if I want to put, there's people with different holidays, different times of the year. It is kind of discriminatory that it's
Yeah,
okay from
I
Thanksgiving
agree with
to.
that, yeah.
So, I think,
I'm very Irish. I like St. Patrick Day lights.
I'd put up green and white
My
lights.
mom was Catholic, so you're discriminating against my. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I can see red, white, and green lights in October for Columbus Day. I mean, my husband's Italian, so
Mhm.
why not?
Why not?
I think there was someone on Zoom that wished to make a comment. Valerie, I thought I heard your name at one time. Are you still there and interested in commenting?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, I had the same question about the ordinance as far as the term used. I would agree. I can't tell who spoke to actually revising this, instead of completely eliminating it. I know that in our neighborhood, we start putting up lights because a lot of them aren't left up all year. I don't know anybody that leaves them up all year in our neighborhood, but they begin installing them early October, because of the volume of lights they have to install.
Okay. Oh. Okay, Michelle passed me a note. Thanks, Valerie. We'll consider that as well. The other thing is with the commercial installation these days, I don't know if you guys have priced installing some of these light systems, that the seasonal systems, holy cats, I mean, it's a substantial amount of money, so anyway. I think, Francis, are you there? Did you have something you wanted to say or add?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. All right, well, we will discuss this further at a later date, and we'll move on. So next we have the audit. And Michelle, I think you followed up on the availability of our 22-23 audit. And
Yes, yeah, we received the invoice, but no audit. So I called today, and he told me I was missing 3 things. And I went through my files and I found the 2 things that he had since July. But at any rate, I was missing a manager's letter, a management letter. So he sent that over, I signed it, got it back to him, and we should have our audit. I think they were just kind of stacked up with so many cities, with the closing date of July, or June 30. And I think that's what really happened.
okay. So do we have a motion to discuss the audit that we currently have?
The motion to approve. the
Okay, approve. Well, Greg is big on discussion, so I'm deferring to
You can
Greg's
discuss
request for
after you-
discussions.
What
Any
audit?
discussion?
The invoices to be
The
paid.
invoices that we have currently,
Without the
so
audit.
that's the annual audit.
The term is audit. Some people call it their docket, some people call it just the invoices to be paid. But our code is written as such that it calls it an audit.
Okay. But we don't have the work product in hand.
The invoices to be paid list is at the back of the book.
No. The
The-
work product of the auditor.
I'm sorry,
We're not
I was
talking about that.
I'm referring to this month's invoices, which we have historically termed as audit. The audit that Michelle was discussing was about 22-23
She was
budget
talking
year.
about
And
an audit.
I think, Greg, your question
We're talking
is-
about paying the bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but your question is the bill for the auditor on this audit, does he want to get paid before we have the work product? Is that your question?
That is a very good way to phrase my question.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that was his point, correct?
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Alrighty.
didn't understand
So why,
it that way.
I think you're asking why should we pay something that we don't have, correct?
Correct. Is the bill from the auditor on this invoice?
Yes.
But
it
we don't
is.
have the audit.
Correct.
So,
So this is invoices for payments, though?
All the work, but he
This is
hasn't.
what checks will
Produce
be.
the report.
Right,
I think you write a check to him, correct?
Correct.
So you haven't written the check yet?
right.
Yeah, so this has not been paid, but a check will be made if you approve it, correct?
Right.
so I would say.
So we can wait till we get the report and then send the check?
And if that's what you want, they've sent
That's
me
what I
a
do in my
bill.
household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna repair my
Okay.
deck.
Do we want
repair the deck.
to, amend these 2 pages and approve the rest to be paid? Can we do that?
Yeah, just amend the audit to eliminate, for the time being, the invoice to, their name is Fick, Eggemeyer, and Williamson for $6,400.
Did he say how soon he's gonna get it to you?
He did not, and
Well,
usually.
he may be motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll pay him when we get it.
If we
Okay.
don't send him a check until
I
we.
think city's credit's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yes.
Okay, so how do I phrase this? Do we want to make a motion to amend the audit as discussed? In other words, do not pay the auditor's bill as included on the
So
current.
this thing we're calling an audit is a list of bills we have to pay.
This invoices, yeah, it's invoices approved for
So we would need
payment,
a motion to pay the list of invoices accepting.
minus the audit.
invoice for the audit
yes.
until we receive the audit. I make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor? Or
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, hold on to that check.
Okay.
Miscellaneous things. I have a couple of one little thing. I would like to recognize that one of our council members, an avid bike rider, has managed to pass 10,000 miles.
Wow.
It's something to really be proud of.
That's quite an
That's
achievement.
awesome.
So that's some serious road time, dude. Good job.
I know you can tell us how far you could travel by car or
Oh, it's back and forth across the United States more than 3 times.
Oh, Greg.
wow.
I know
Oh.
people who have actually made that ride.
I do mine
From coast to coast.
a little bit at a time.
Incrementally.
I did.
so.
I did.
I am
know
on
that
my third
person,
bike.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh,
Oh, my
Greg. That's
gosh.
phenomenal. So,
tires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ask, my wife doesn't like that. A lot of tires.
so
Thank you, Michelle.
no, that's quite an achievement.
is.
Gosh, Greg, that's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
Nice achievement.
no wonder you're just no
Skin and
extra
bones.
Yeah.
fat on you. Yes. So,
And can't go snorkeling because
Sinks.
he thinks.
well, that's pretty much
Wouldn't that be
all I
nice?
have, folks. I see no closed meeting on the agenda tonight. So, with that said,
Andrew?
Motion to adjourn.
second,
Second. Battling seconds.
ayes,
Aye.
nays.
Aye.
Great.
Motion accepted, passed, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Officer Quach, good luck to you. Thank you
Good luck.
very much.
And thanks
He's
for
our original police officer. Right now, we have 2 that patrol for us,